Hello first graders, we are going to get started today for our snow reading video. And today we are going to continue working on those story maps where we explain setting, characters, the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. I will be reading the story called The Mitten. So go ahead and grab out your story map where you can start writing along or go back and replay the video as I read the story. If you do not remember how to fill out this story map, you can always go back to the previous video where we explain how to fill it out. Let's begin. The Mitten. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally Baba made them. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens. So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and buried inside. It was cozy, warm, and just the right size, so he decided to stay. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no more room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in when the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth. They gave the fox lots of room. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as can be, but what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged too many times to size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came the meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wiggled it into one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost Mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. As he ran to catch his snow-white mittens, he saw Baba's face in the window. First she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he was still in his new mittens. The end. Okay, first graders, I want you to take this book and I want you to think about who are the characters in this book, and where is this story taking place at, what happens in the beginning of the story, what happened in the middle of the story, and how did this story end. And I hope you have a good snow day.